Okay, normally I like to do these series, these RT recap series, before the movie comes out, and I kind of forgot about Rambo, but I started seeing a lot of commentary online, a lot of people talking about Rambo, and not in the positive. Right? I happen to be a lifelong Rambo fan. My favorite one is 2008's, but I still think Stallone kicked a lot of ass in the First Blood, and then First Blood Part 2 and Rambo 3 were great on their own right. But this one to me looks like a lot of fun. It's a balls to the wall action film with Stallone just straight up slaughtering people at a time when we haven't had a good violent rampage in the theater for a while, because we see a lot of it on the streets. It's good to kind of have a little bit of escapism to be able to watch this. But the problem with it is, though, is that the media, the access media, just like with the Joker, are not happy about a movie like this existing, and they feel that it's probably not a good movie to watch, as evidenced here by the 31% tomato meter. But the audiences, on the other hand, are giving it a higher score. Now, granted, look, we see here that it's 72 on the tomato meter, and it's 274 verified reviews on the audience score. So I mean, it hasn't gone fully wide yet. When I do the box office aftermath on Sunday, we'll definitely probably get a better look at everything. But in the meantime, this is just where we stand. So it says here that, like the sequels that preceded it, Rambo Last Blood is content to indulge in bloody violence at the expense of its main character's once poignant story. Look, First Blood, John Rambo in the Northwest, trying to survive, having the PTSD, was very much a poignant tale about what it was like for Vietnam vets coming back and how they were treated 100%. Then it took it under James Cameron's writing. The next chapter, just went crazy, and they turned him into an action hero after that. And you know what? Audiences loved it. Pop culture ate it up for decades. So then he came back and he did Rambo in 2008, which was just, again, it was a very poignant story about what was going on in Burma, on top of a lot of really good dialogue and some excellent, insane, gory action of a film that I feel is vastly, vastly underrated in today's lexicon of pop culture. So this one I have high hopes for. I've heard good, I've heard bad, but I still really want to see it. In fact, I might go see it later on tonight. So this is what the critics are saying about it. Let me scroll down here. What the critics are saying. So these are the top critics, the verified critics. These are the people who Rotten Tomatoes puts on the front. So Ignati whatever, from AV Club here says, Rambo has always been a monster, but in his old age, he's become something even worse. No fun. But if he's always been a monster, since when is him being a monster fun? Are we talking about the PTSD that he faced when he was in First Blood, where he was persecuted and vilified by the local sheriff, by Stacy Keach, because of who he was and what he had engaged in, and they hunted him down and they kind of made him feel like the monster he felt that he was on the inside? I mean, was that fun? I didn't think First Blood was a fun movie. It was a good movie, but not a fun movie. Rambo First Blood Part 2 and then Rambo 3, those were more fun. Those are definitely over the top and enlightening and engaging. But I fail to see where this quote comes from. By the way, let me just remind you guys that these quotes, these little snippets here, these are put in by the reviewers themselves. This is the summary they want you to see. This isn't put in there by Rotten Tomatoes. That's why I want to make that clear. James Bertinelli from Real Views says, an unwatchable piece of excrement. Well, James, I mean, I'm sorry you feel that way. David Edelstein from New York Magazine here says, I don't know why I had high hopes for Rambo Last Blood. I don't know. Perhaps you like watching just a violent display of action cinema on the screen. Feel maybe we don't get enough of it these days. But it doesn't tell me anything about it. That doesn't tell me anything. Your snippet doesn't get me to want to click on your full review. It's like such a man. I don't know what I was expecting. I wish I knew. I don't know. Peter Hartlop here from the San Francisco Chronicle says, the latest chapter feels like a bad Rocky sequel infected with a good Rambo movie. Along the way, the makers of Last Blood lose track of the thing that draws us to the character. Now, that is saying something. And the humanity or lack thereof of Rambo, which is one of the things that was talked about quite heavily in First Blood, and it was explored once again in Rambo when he was seeking exile and didn't want to go back into war. He was trying to avoid conflict, which ultimately seems like Rambo's MO at the end of these adventures, but he always finds himself being sucked back in. But his disdain for war, but still having to participate in it, is one of the things that add to his story, to the humanity of the character. And perhaps that's missing here. Who knows? I don't know. I haven't seen it, but at least that's something to discuss. Versus David there, I don't know why I had high hopes for seeing this movie. I don't know. Oliver Jones here says, the sloppily conceived and muddily rendered Rambo picture does not merely insult any audience member unfortunate to see it. It does something far worse. It insults Rambo. Have they not seen Rambo 3? I mean, doesn't he? Isn't Rambo 3 the one where he goes and helps out the Taliban? Like, there's been some misfires in the Rambo series before. Okay, so what exactly do you mean by that one? Again, not enough to get 0.5 stars out of 4. It's, jeez. And Joshua Rothkopf here from Time Out says Stallone may be the best custodian of his own legacy, graying, splotchy, and barely intelligible. He turns a self-negating performance just as ugly on the inside. And maybe that's because he's bitter. I don't know. Look, I can't tell you. I can't tell you what that is. But let's take a look here at the audience reviews here, what the audience saying. All right, so Verified, First L, 4 minutes ago. What a great flick. I love the fact that it portrayed the cartels in a realistic way. And spoiler alert, it makes them pay. I'll be definitely seeing this movie again. Now, Verified by that means that they bought tickets through Fandango.com and went and saw a movie. Let's find another Verified review here. Okay, J Rambo. Maybe a little bit on the nose there. 80s style action flick was great fun. Okay, gave it 4 stars. Robert D here says the acting was subpar, but the gore was good. Well, I mean, I think a lot of people going to see this movie are going to go see it more for the gore. So there's that. What's anyone else here? With the, okay. John E says Rambo Last Blood was badass. I gave it 10 out of 10 for sure. Lisa, not so much for the acting. Stephen J, great action like all John Rambo movies, a little expected on the plot, but like always, you don't anger John. And it goes on and 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 on with how this is, how people see this movie. All right, we can see that the fans of the franchise understand the core concept of just who John Rambo is. You don't anger John Rambo. Basically, that's kind of been the gist for the whole thing. That's what he's been turned into pop culture wise, and Stallone has embraced that aspect of the character. But like with the last Rambo and with this Rambo, it does appear that he's trying to like merge the two identities together. It worked out real well when taking on the Burmese government and the crazy guys in the last movie. This one taking on the cartels might seem a little bit kind of cliche given where we are in our current pop culture of society, but it does also kind of feel like it's just right. Now I'll tell you what I would like. I would like the original concept of Rambo 5 to be what they went with, which was Rambo gets called in by a group of special forces to go down to South America to basically hunt a monster, to hunt like the El Chupacabra or Predator, something along those lines. It was basically Rambo v Predator. That was the original pitch, and that's what I would have loved to have seen. But in the meantime, I'm totally content wanting to see this. The audience seems to like it. The people I know who have seen it seem to like it, and it's being heavily recommended to me. So as a gigantic 80s action movie buff and who longs for the return of that kind of universe, that kind of movie again, this is something that's right up my damn alley. Also, please, while we're on the subject, if we're going to do anything else with Stallone and sequels, can we please get a damn Demolition Man 2? It's been too long, and the world needs more John Spartan. But I leave it to you, your thoughts, your opinions. Let me know down in the comments below. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day. Oh yeah, before you guys go, be sure to toss a like. If you like it, let's get to 150. I think that's a good number, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day, and peace out.